Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today is day 2 of 7 things resilient people do differently. And today we're going to talk about processing negative emotions and also respecting the number one habit. There's 7 habits. So we're going to go over processing negative emotions and the number one habit. Within the next 3 days, we'll go over 2 habits each day. So that's kind of my organization for the rest of the week. But I'm going to be going off on personal tangents and how I interpreted this part of the book. So if you read the book, I know some of the things I'm going to be talking about is putting my own thoughts in there and try to talk about a little bit more of the business side of things. And also, I really love the points in the book just about negative emotions. But I'm going to talk a little bit more about long-term negative emotions because, especially in business and in personal life, negative emotions could be could go on for a long time. There's certain things, like an example, when you start in business, when you have things going on in your life, sometimes they're just not an argument with a spouse. They're not just upset client that you had that day and getting over those negative emotions. Some things are just constantly negative because you're building and working on them. Example is building your business. You want to get to a certain level. So you might want the not really negative emotion, but it's negative because you haven't reached your goals yet. So how you deal with that negative frustration, or when there's things in your life, especially now with the pandemic and things that are out of your control, that are just constantly that negative thing every day, because you can't change everything about your environment and your work and your situation in life all of the time. So I took some of that and put some of the things that the author said in the book is that you can't suppress your negative things. You can't wash them away. Don't bottle them up. Don't pretend like they're not there. That is how to that's the number one thing you can do to process negative emotions, is make sure you know that they're there every day, acknowledge them, and figure out what you're going to do that day to look at the positive side of things. Try to get yourself out of that situation, make that situation better, the best it can be at that time. So if you are at a certain level of your business where you don't want to be, your relationships with people, your situation in helping others, you have to every day acknowledge that it's there. Don't forget about that it's there. Just acknowledging it, knowing about it, taking responsibility for it, and know in your mind what you're going to do to think of the positive thing. So that's what I really enjoyed about reading this part of the book, was just that you can't put blinders on when negative things come into your life. If you put blinders on, you put your head in the sand, you're waiting for them to go away. They don't go away. It actually makes them worse. So you've got to not tackle them head on, just acknowledge that they're there and figure out what you're going to do to make them as positive as possible. So I'm going to turn this more into the business side of things, because I coach agents every day. And in a business side of things, I have to, when I'm talking to agents, I have to keep them a lot of times in a positive mindset if their business is not where they're at. And a lot of times, unfortunately, I have to use this, if you want to use the word tactic or reminder, that things could always be worse. This is not in the book. This is my personal note in that, in coaching agents, and that is that there's things could always be worse. And sometimes that does put a perspective on things. So I have agents that are at a few transactions a year and having a difficult time, staying in real estate because they are not at the level they want. But then I have agents that are same upsetness, but they're getting everything paid. They can stay in real estate. They're just not at that next level from where they want to be. But the one thing I always remind everybody, this is business-wise, personal-wise, everything gets better with the right mindset, the right attitude, the right acknowledgement, taking accountability for your feelings, taking accountability for your work, and having a plan of how to make it better will always get better. Also, that there's always this, there's nothing that you're going through business wise, personal wise, that someone hasn't gone through already and succeeded and surpassed what they thought they were going to be before and are more successful, happier, better on the other side. So remember that. I remember my father always used to use this anytime I was upset. And if you have any of those fatherly or motherly things that from your past when you were a kid, I remember being upset about different things. And he said something, the fact that always sticks with me is the man who had no shoes was always upset that he had no shoes until he met the man with no feet. That kind of mentality always stuck with me for years, till to this day and more, is that kind of thing. Again, this is not in the book. This is my kind of take on negative things, is that when you have negative things, they're not the end of the world. They might stick with you for months, years, longer, because it takes time to get out of certain situations or things that are out of your control. Again, pandemic. I mean, in real estate, we're doing well. I mean, a lot better. The market is doing a lot better than I thought it would, but there's other people, if you're watching this and you have other businesses and things that are down because of it, there's things out of your control, and that's negative. So how to turn that into positive, or at least have a mindset of positive, and don't bring you down, and know that there's an end, and know that people have been through bad times. I thought, and I'm glad I'm not making these coaching calls, I thought I was going to have to bring 2008 back into the picture. Right now, more than half of the realtors in the country have been licensed less than 10 years. I thought, which I hope it doesn't hit anytime in the near future, I thought I was going to be at this time right now preparing. I was already preparing myself to explain to agents that I went through 2008 and had to coach through agents of a horrible market and economic crisis, and how to get through it, and how to help. Right now, I'm not doing that, which is great, and I hope that I don't have to. But anybody out there that's not in real estate, or the real estate's not where they're at, you can get yourself out of it. It will end. It will be better. You just got to keep that negative, understand that, deal with it, look at the positive side. It might take time. I'm going to go through the first habit today, and that is, the first habit is respecting your emotions. You've got to respect them. They're part of you. They're not going to go away. If you have those feelings, don't bottle it up. You've got to respect that you're going to, when things happen in your life, you're going to have situations, you're going to have reactions, you're going to have things that you're going to have to deal with, and respect them. Take a breath, relax, know that they're about to happen. If you ever get in those situations where something just happened and you're like, oh my God, in about 2 minutes, I'm going to be extremely upset, sad, mad, whatever. Take a deep breaths, relax, experience that emotion, figure out the positive side to that, and figure out how you're going to react to those things in a positive way. Positive ways that these reactions, negative things, you get upset client, someone in your life, a deal falling through and you had that money already spent, things like that. You're going to have emotions. Don't try to forget that they're not there. Figure out how you're going to make that positive emotion. Examples, small examples, is a client. You're not to the finish line. You're in the middle of a deal. The deal's not over yet, and you have to deal with this client again, and it's a negative thing coming up because they're emotional. They're taking it out on you. I walk agents through these processes almost on a daily basis, and how to handle that the next time you talk to the client, so you're not ruining a total professional relationship with it, and not being upset with these people. I have to deal with agents every day with their transactions and dealing with each other. Sometimes I have agents that don't want to talk to each other. Sometimes I have buyers and sellers that don't want to talk to their agent anymore, and have to put that all together. And it's normally 100%, well, 99.9% of the time, emotions and how people handle emotions, and not thinking of what's going on to the other person. So so the great thing is learning. The number one compliment I get from my agents is, Tony, how could you be so calm about the things that are happening? This deal's falling apart. Buyer and seller threatening lawsuits. The other agents unresponsive. How are you calm and not aggravated and want to scream? The reason, I've been through this before. I know that doesn't help. You just want to acknowledge that things are happening. You know the feeling. I'm just as aggravated as everybody else, but I process it. How to process it in a different way to make it productive, so you bring everything together. A lot of that comes with experience. So if you're new to real estate or new to situations, or you've never had situations, I see this almost daily, especially in real estate, in a high emotion transaction, emotions going amok, either way, good or bad. And a lot of times I'm dealing with the bad emotions, because as the broker and the manager of handling the agents and the transactions, I usually deal with the negative ones. That's when agents are calling me. Rarely agents call me like, my buyer and seller are so happy. I mean, I get those sometimes, but they're really just telling me a story. They're not asking me to fix anything. But so I deal with a lot of the negative things every day. So I have a lot of experience with this. I love to help agents understand, so in a business sense of things, and how to interpret that, how to process it, how to use it and learn from it and build your business. Because the one of the great things that can happen is that you have clients that at the end of a transaction, sometimes I have had this happen. I've had this happen to me a handful of times a year. But I know they think but not always responded. This is when buyers and sellers, when we get to the end of the transaction, I've had buyers and sellers call me, call the agent, go, thank you so much for going that extra mile and walking us through the process of a terrible situation or emotional situation that got in with family members or the seller or the buyer. And that at the end of it, they go, wow, this person helped us emotionally through it, help us process the process. That makes you, as a realtor, the most the best asset your buyer or seller has. Someone that could walk through that. We've all been through those transactions with buyers, sellers, other agents, that their emotions cannot process them. They cannot rein them in. They're just 100% emotional, which is good some of the time, but when there's things going wrong and you have to be that voice of reason, you got to be the one to be able to process it and handle the situation, try to look at the positive aspect, try to figure out what's the best for everybody, try to get a win-win, try to explain that, you know, certain situations, no one's doing it out of spite or to hurt anybody, and process that, and don't take that out on your clients and the people around you. So today, in respecting your emotions, processing negative stuff on the business side of things in real estate, I want you to remember that with time, with experience, you're going to get there. When you feel your emotions getting high in a certain situation and you're not going to help the situation with high emotions and negative, and not being able to process the negative things that are happening in the business, you need to do that. You need to try to respect your emotions. You're going to be upset. Don't give yourself time to think about it before you speak. Take a step back. A lot of times I've said this to agent, I said, let me call the buyer or seller for you, because you're not going to be able to, really emotionally say the things you want to say in the nice way you want to say it, because there's some things that get too emotional. So it's negative things, processing it right, looking at the positive, knowing that there's other people involved, respecting your emotions, that you could respect, that you're going to happen when these things happen, when things don't close on time, the buyer's truck is there, and a lot of this, and I've said this in many other videos, I use stories to show of what things can be worse. I've had buyers in the driveway with a moving truck and the seller not move a thing out of there, all screaming at each other, calling the police, trying to figure out what's going on. I've had sellers not move a thing out. No one knows where they are. They can't find them. We can't get them on the phone. We don't know when they're getting out of the house and where they went. I've had buyers all of a sudden sign their closing documents, fall off the planet or something, not find them. There's always something that's worse scenarios. And sometimes we have to use those stories, that's my take on it, to explain to other people to help them process the negative things that they're happening. So a lot of times we have to help them process. So that's it for today. I'm going to take too much of your time. I'm going to keep it to about 15 minutes each day. So processing negative emotions, respecting your emotions is the number one thing you can do. And over time, you'll become better at it. You'll see the positive side of things. You'll do better in business and your personal life with it. And remember, use me as a resource, especially on the business end of things. If you need help on how to get through tough transactions, I love helping agents, buyers, sellers with selling thousands and thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of homes over 28 years of real estate. I've been through situations. There's new situations that I've never even been through. I want to share that experience with agents to help them with their business. So that's it for today. Hope you're having a great day. Tomorrow, we're going to go over habit 2 and 3 of 7 things highly effective people do. And I know this is going to help you. So have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.